live.
Sheesh. What's going on, mother lovers? We are back after a couple weeks hiatus. We had to take a little time off. Do you know what I mean? We are back here with something you might not never know nothing about. My name is MysDiggi. That's right. I'm your host with my co-host here, Dan DNA. What's going on, bruv?
Good.
Enjoying the weather.
Let me just switch. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Enjoying the weather out here.
No.
Why? No, man, you look happy with the rosy cheeks, man. What are you talking about? I know,
this is
been blazing out here,
This
boy.
is like all the blood's come to the surface.
Yeah. That's like the last resort. When the blood comes to the surface, like, yo, we're going to do our best to save you. We don't know how long we can hang in there.
You like it though, don't you? This is your favourite time of the year.
You know, I like heat, but this is ridiculously hot. But I understand what I've got to do now to survive through it. Whereas before, I used to be scared of going outside when it was too hot. Yeah, man, because I was like, yo, man, I'll get like rashes or, you know, I'd feel like, oh, man, the sun makes me do this and it makes me do that. And you realize like, nah, you need to be in it more. The more you're in it, the more your body's like, yeah, exactly. This is what we need. We need to, we're coming up with stuff to detox, to get rid of. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
So, so like I'm saying, this sort of time, you're not meant to be out there. Obviously, if you're working, that's a whole different story. If you are out there working, stay as hydrated as you can. And obviously, yeah, you like do your best to get in the shade for 5-10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Every 20 minutes or something, 15-20 minutes. Don't be out there like acting like, no, I'm good. And then after, like, all lobster boiled out, like leather skinned out. Do you know what I mean?
The next day
like,
being sick.
Yeah.
Sunstroke.
Sunstroke. You know what I mean? You just be logical with this. Shout out to Bruce Rillis in the building. Black Einstein, what's going on, my brothers? Good to see you lot, man. Yeah, it's been a minute, man, so I can understand people might not know that we're on right now. But they'll soon find out, man. So shout out to all the podcast listeners as well that just check out the audio. We appreciate everyone locking in. Everyone on the YouTubes, Twitters, Twitches, D-Lives. Are we still on D-Lives?
We are still on there, yeah.
Yeah, share, you know what I mean? Link, subscribe, do what you can, man. We're back. We're back in this mother lover. Do you know what I mean? That's what I used to say. I'm like, man, back in West. When man back in West, yeah? Walk now, like, yeah. So we're back, man. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. I'm looking forward to this evening because it's been a minute since we had my brother up here. You know what I mean? And he's definitely like our avid listeners, like one of his favorites, one of our favorite, one of their favorite, I should say, guests that comes on the show because it's always mind-blowing for people like, rah, I didn't realize that. And, you know, this is what we try and do here is like, you know, it's not, obviously it's in the title, but there is stuff that we actually don't know about that could be of interest to us and you might want to dig further into it. You know, whatever you're hearing on here, like we always say, man, don't just take our word for it or anyone's word for it. Like, go and look for yourself. And especially when it comes to like whether you believe in it or not, it's like go and disprove it then. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't, or it's like you if you believe in something, then you should also look at, like you've mentioned before, also look at the other side to make sure that what you believe in is true to you. Don't just leave it at that because then all it is a belief. And really, we want to know. That's what we want to do up here is know. Because there's shit you might not never know nothing about.
That's it.
Not believe nothing about. Believing is easy. Like, right, I believe that's true. Yeah, I believe so. You know what I mean? I don't know, but... And when you look at the beginnings of those sort of words, you realize what it really means. It's like, oh, it means more than just, yeah, I think that could be possible. It's like you actually have some kind of trust in that belief.
Yeah.
To the point that you will argue that belief, like you know it's fact, but you don't. You don't know if it's reality or not.
No.
You know, I shouldn't even say facts because facts is the same thing. You know, like people talk about there's no such thing as truth. There is. There's obviously a truth. Like it's true to you that this table, I'm behind this table, right? To me, you're behind this table. It's true to both of us, but the real truth is this table is in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, there's always going to be different angles and whatnot, but yeah, to say that there's no such thing as truth.
And when people say things like, yeah, but the table might be, it might not be real. Nothing. It's okay if nothing's real, then fucking kill yourself. But do you know what I mean? It is real. In terms of what we're talking about at the moment, we're talking about the fucking table. We could say nothing is real at any point in life.
Yeah. And that's and that it's interesting because that stems into what I wanted to get into tonight. Because like we're saying, people will argue things. Not really know whether what they're arguing is real or not. Do you know what I mean? But to them, it's a fact because it's been proven, right? And so what is proof? To you, what is proof then? Is it just images on a screen? Do these images have to be moving? Does somebody have to be talking about these? Like what is it? What do you say is proof then? Because that's like a really... It's something I think is not that hard to define, but there's just a wide scope of what people kind of understand as proof. From what I, from just like over the years now, I've realized like, right, to some people that's proof though, just reading it in the paper or just hearing it on the news or whatever they said da-da-da, and that's enough. But that's not actually proof. That's just someone saying it to you and putting it into your mind,
There's something someone said to me recently about evidence and proof as well, but it's not the same thing. Is that like you can have evidence for something, but it's not necessarily the proof, or you can have proof. Do you know what I mean? You need evidence to eventually have proof, but just because you've got, say, you get stopped by the police, they find a car jack in your car, someone's been beaten up with a car jack. They've got evidence.
There's evidence,
but it's not proof.
Yeah.
So, you've got this sort of crossover as well of like,
push me, pull you.
You've got evidence for something. That's just what all the flat earth stuff exists on and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Lots of evidence, but it's not like definitive proof.
Yeah, no one's got definitive proof. So it's always like this ever, never ending cycle of like people showing, here's more proof, here's these proofs and there's this proof. But is that actually proof, or is that just, it goes along with what you're saying? Do you know what I mean? Like, in what way? And the only way is if we measure it in that. So you're meant to be able to replicate the, whatever equation they use to work out the length or something, or the depth or whatever. You're meant to be able to do that as well. And then it's like, all right, we can say that, it does work like that. But until then, and loads of people, they ain't doing the shit. No. They ain't doing what DVG's doing, like proper, digging deep into, okay, what does this mean? And over here it means this, over here it means that, over. You know what I mean? It's just like, here's what you got to learn. Stacked. But I've got to do all of this work. And once I get through it, though, blah, blah, blah. And then Caesar just says, here's your degree. You have been indoctrinated to this degree. Or to this, to this level. Do you know what I mean? Indoctrinated to this level. Or I'll do it with the left hand as well, so people don't get too... What they do now, GIFs and all that, innit? Memes will be memed up, boy.
Should we...
Yeah, man, let's get him in, man. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a beautiful return for my brother, none other than DVG. What's going on, bro?
Yes, all good, brother. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, it has to happen,
really
man.
great being here. We always have good chats and good times when I'm on, so it's all good.
Wicked, man.
Thanks
That's
for coming
to hear,
on,
man. Yes, man. And we've got to say, of course, man, all due respect as well for you coming on, like, after dealing with what you've had to deal with. Like, much respect for that, man.
No, it is what it is, brother. At the end of the day, things happen. Life goes on. We just got to try and get through it, man. That's all I can say, really, man.
Yeah, man. Much appreciated, man. Definitely. So yeah, man, I wanted to get you on again because, boy, it's been a minute already anyway. And, there's been a lot going on, like, of recent, obviously, in the world and in the real world. I'm sure you had a bit of our conversation about what reality is and what proof is. You know what I mean? And I think, like, you're, for sure, like, I know you're somebody that's, with this syncretism thing, it's almost like you're finding proofs, within, whether it be etymology or astrology. Do you know what I mean? You're seeing things pop up in different different
fields of
cultures,
knowledge.
different fields of knowledge. Like you know, we all. I think like the listeners, our avid listeners, probably definitely know by now. Like the whole thing with the planets involved in virtually everything we do. You know what I mean? And then things like names as well, like the fact that names actually mean something, you know, like your second name, but even your first name, there's a meaning behind it all and all that. So you know, I could imagine for you when we're talking about what is proof, it's like, I think that things kind of pop up in you and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Or there's things that don't.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't know what is a proof. Like you said, a proof to everyone is something different. Like you said, some people take reading the newspaper as proof. For some people, it's not enough, and they've got to go and do their own research to like dig deeper, or just seeing what different other people say. And ultimately, yeah, I don't know. I think when you know something is true or there's proof, I think you have a feeling, you have a gut feeling, or you have like some kind of feeling inside you when you know that something is true.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like giving proof to something, I mean it depends on what you're talking about. Like, so for example, like, again, if we're going back to like the shape of the Earth, for example, like a proof is like in the heliocentric model that the Earth is a globe because you see ships go over the horizon. So it's considered that it's going over the curve. But then you have flat earthers say, oh no, hold on a second, if I get a camera and zoom in, then that ship comes back in to the vision. So it's not going over a curve. It's just going out of your perspective.
Yeah.
But then a concave earther will say, no, both of you guys are wrong. It's this way. And the earth curves upwards, which is why you get the horizon always at your eye level. So it's like we live in a hollow ball, for example. They believe that. But what I'm saying is, all of them are bringing up proof, evidences, should I say, but none of them are provable.
Yeah, like the camera thing doesn't prove that the Earth is flat. It just proves that the ball, it probably isn't the measurement that they're saying if it is still round. Do you know what I mean?
It could be anything. I don't know. Like, that's what I've, like, with that subject, I've come to the, like, I've come at peace with myself when I talk about that subject now. I have my own belief of what it might be, but one, I can't prove it. And two, I just think that sometimes that we can't, although we're intelligent as human beings, it don't mean that we can always comprehend everything. Like maybe where we are and how the Earth is and how the Earth looks and what shape it is, it's not like, maybe we're not meant to really know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, it's just like, it's something incomprehensible, because what I'm saying is, if someone really knew that answer, then there'd be a God, or there'd be like the creator, is what I'm saying. Whereas we're like physical beings, so maybe we're only just supposed to know our surroundings, if that makes sense. Like,
I think we are, man. Like
you know, rather than be more localized, rather than think about
what's out there.
Or not. We can think about what's out there, but what I'm saying is trying to comprehend it is it's a bit incomprehensible.
Yeah, for us to say we have the answers when we don't is already the problem, isn't it?
That's what I'm basically saying. Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't have the answers to everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. at the same time. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's
Yeah,
what I think we've got to learn as a human race. As like, I think like sometimes it's like, if we don't know the answer, then our ego gets bruised, or people want to have the answer. Because if you have the answer, then people are more likely to be like magnetized towards you, or you attract attention and energy. Do you get what? If you claim to know the answer.
Yeah.
Do you think that's come from school? Stand up in front of the classroom and answer these questions, Timothy. And you get them all right. Oh, what? You know, and then it makes Timothy like, yeah. So yeah, knowing things makes me popular, and you know, and that carries on.
Sorry, it froze up a bit. You said you think that comes from school. Is that what you?
Yeah, from the schooling system where it's like stand in front of the class and tell everybody the answers, and you know, it's like, and you get a reward for it. You know, all these sort of things that make so you feel like, yeah, I'm supposed. If I know everything, then I'm going to be popular. And everyone likes a smart person, and we've all been taught that as well, innit? We've all been taught like, oh, smart people do really well in life, and smart people, smart this, smart that. But then, what is smart? You know what I mean? It's what Caesar says. I won't do the hand gesture because Dan. But Caesar says, there you go.
I think we're all smart in our own personalized fields. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So like everyone's smart in there, even that someone that you might think, oh, he's dumb. I'm sure that person is smart at something specific on Earth or in his life. Do you get what I'm saying? So.
But yeah, we are just animals essentially. You know, not I don't mean essentially just be an animal, but so like you say, comprehending bigger things, it might be a little bit beyond us at the moment. If you said to a horse, how do you think cars work?
Yeah, exactly.
The horse be like probably like I work with 4 things that go like that. You know, so the horse is only going to see things from the horse's perspective, and that's what we're like, is that we're only seeing things from our perspective. That is a great
comparison, bro. Very good. I love that analogy. It's like, you know, like what I think it is, like sometimes maybe it's like a lot of the theology and like how like man is made in the image of God and all this type of stuff that maybe gives man this kind of ego and thinking that we know everything. We are obviously every species is superb in its own right, whether it's an animal, insect, human. Like, do you get what I'm saying? But again, like, this also could be like, and again, I can't prove this, but just through my knowledge of studying, they say that because of like certain ages, like the yugas, you know, like you have like the Iron Age and
25,000.
So like they say that when we're in the Iron Age, where we only have 25% consciousness, then when you're in the Bronze Age, you have 50% consciousness. When you're in the Silver Age, you have 75% consciousness, and when you're in the Golden Age, you have 100% consciousness, so to speak. So we're currently, again, like due from the general consensus, we're just leaving the Iron Age. So like a lot of people are saying that the reason why we can't comprehend these things at the moment is because we're stuck in like a hot, more denser age. Hence, we're not like, how can I say, malleable enough to get it all yet. So maybe as time changes, then maybe we will have answers. But I don't know. Like, again, that's just whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that is an explanation that is out there. It's due to the ages that humans have different, like, awareness and different rates of consciousness, basically. So,
it's mad because I was thinking, like, when you just going back to when you're saying about with animals, like how we've all got strengths that others don't have, you know, that's making me think about that. And I was thinking, like, right, if I was to talk to one of my toughest brethren, like hardcore diesel brolic, just landed, always got a strap on him, said, bruv, would you go and jump on a bison? Would you, in the Serengeti, would you go and jump on a bison's back? And he'd be like, fuck that. I'd be like, That mosquito would do it in a millisecond. Do you know what I mean? Like, the different levels of that. It's true, man. There's shit that this little thing here would do that I wouldn't even, no matter what you offered me. Do you know what I mean? So it goes to show, man. It's crazy. It's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
Everyone's got,
It's
we've
good.
all got our strengths and
Every
weaknesses.
being.
Yeah.
No matter what you are, whether it's an animal or a human.
We're all animals, aren't we? We just animals that somehow manage to learn how to communicate like a mother lover to the point where we mess people up with our communication. Shout out to Dr. Evil O in the building. Big up BLA, big love always. He says the original meaning of smart related to pain. When something's smart, it hurts.
Interesting. I've never heard that one before.
Let me look that up a little bit. You know what I mean?
But now you've me just thinking about the word
smartphone.
Smart. It has MAR in it, which is Mars or marked.
Mer.
Yeah. So that that vibration, RAM, which is RAM backwards, might have that kind of passionate Martian energy in the word, why it might relate to being hurt, if that makes sense. Is that what you said? It means getting hurt.
Yeah, he said it when something's smart, it hurts. And you know what?
Right,
That's how we know DVG's on point, because I just checked it up on Etymology online. It says Old English smerten, in brackets, be painful.
Yeah.
From Proto-Germanic smarta. So, and it says source also of Middle Dutch smerten, so S-M-E-R. So you're hearing the M-E-R, M-E-O-R, but these are all different versions of Mars, like you're saying. You know?
Yeah, it's because we've got to always remember all the vowels are interchangeable, A, E, I, O, and U. So that's why you can have ma, more, because they're all interchangeable. The middle letters, they're all interchangeable.
German smerzen, so S-M-E-R-Z-A-N, O-Z-A-N. German schmerzen, and that says to pain. Originally to bite. Wow, smartphones, bruv. Smart devices, bruv. Jeez. Shout to BLO, boy.
Smartphone. There you go.
Smartphones. All these smart devices, bruv. They're called smart to make you think you're smart. You know, when I was asking, what is smart then? That's what smart is.
Give you pain.
To give you pain. To fuck you up. And for those who don't know, so etymology, what's it called?
Etym Online.
Etym Online is a good place to go to study. It's basically to do with the history of words. I'm sure we mentioned it before, but I like to drill in people's heads because people always forget shit for some damn reason, boy. So then I was like, I wanted to see what the etymology of etymology was. Do you call it going meta? That's what it is, isn't it?
Well, that comes from atom, innit?
Atom, yeah.
Yeah.
So atom.
So etymology. It's the study of atoms, because each word is an atom, basically.
Nice, I like that.
Each word is an atom because it forms
the sort of the basis of words. You know, the building blocks of words. Yeah, I like that.
Because E and A are interchangeable, and so that would be etymology. And obviously Y is also interchangeable with the vowels as well, like with I, O, and O, and U, and E, and all that. So that's where it's etymology. So it's just talking about atoms.
Okay. Well. So I guess they're trying to keep that quiet on here because they're not mentioning it, but it does go to etymos, and the fact logia, I guess, is to do with.
So what does etymos in Greek? Edimos, don't that mean clever? I think. In edimos, I think that means you're clever.
Okay.
Let me check it up on my phone.
Etymology, analysis of a word to find its true origin. Properly study of the true sense of a word. So yeah, it makes sense. Real,
Etymos
actual,
in Greek.
related to etios, true.
Yeah, it says true sense of a word.
Mm.
That's what it says. It says true or real. Etymos.
It's deep, man. And then you see, look, which so true, which perhaps is cognate with Sanskrit for Satya, Gothic, Sungis, Old English. I wonder how you say that. So, or something, I don't know. But meaning true, and also meaning be stable in Proto-Indo-European. Jeez, man. But then Latinized, bam, Latinized by Cicero as Viriliquorum.
You know why
How
it's
you
like
pronounce that?
because you see the word atam, A-T-A-M in Turkish means forefather.
At means forefather. How do you say father?
Father, baba, like papa.
Baba. Yeah. Papa. Pa.
Yeah, B and P are interchangeable.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
yeah, that's why, like, yeah, because you get like paternal is like your, and then maternal.
Yeah. Mum.
You get what I'm saying? So
Padre. Pata, and that's how Pata and Pitta and
Peter, exactly.
Peter. Yeah.
That means rock as well.
Mm.
Peter means rock because in Greek it's Pedre, or like Pedro. That name.
Pedros, Pedro. Wow, see, even in the names, man.
Petrified.
Petrified. Petrified. Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, saltpeter.
Deep boogie. Wow. So there was something that I liked here, which I found interesting. So it says, in classical times with reference to meanings, later to histories, classical etymologists, Christian and pagan, for some reason they needed to tell you that. So etymologists, Christian and pagan, base their explanations on allegory and guesswork, lacking historical records as well as the scientific method to analyze them. And the discipline fell into disrepute that lasted a millennium. So this guy Flaubert, who wrote Dictionary or Received Ideas, wrote that the general view was that etymology was the easiest thing in the world with the help of Latin and a little ingenuity. The easiest thing in the world with the help of Latin. And then obviously, when you dig into books like, whether it be Bovier's Law Dictionary or Black's Law Dictionary, you start to see how much Latin pops up all of a sudden. That's in our language, in our, in the word, within the words that we speak. So there's almost sentences within the words, if that makes sense. Kind of like the syllables, I guess.
You break the words down into smaller pieces.
Like we're talking about conspire, when you broke down conspiracy, like what does it mean?
Yeah.
Con meaning with, and then spire mean to breathe meaning spirit. Spirit was what people looked at as the being, the actual, the consciousness.
Yeah.
So, it's like Espiritu Santos, or spirit is the breath, you know what I mean? So the living.
And conspire was to breathe in one breath, to alter with one breath.
Yeah. So it is like more than one, two or more people breathing together, like getting ideas, and conspiring. Do you know what I mean? So it's really interesting when you look at words in that way as well. Are there any that have popped up recently for you where you're just like, oh my days? I feel like you've been through it all, so nothing to do anymore. Like, you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm trying to think. It happens to me all the time, but I'm sure, did it happen to me in Cyprus? It must have done.
Yeah, was there anything? I was wondering if you saw any sort of occult symbolism out there that you never realized before, obviously with the eyes now.
I went to a church, which is the oldest church in Cyprus. It's from the 6th century. I've done a little video. If anyone wants to check it out, it's on my YouTube channel, which is Conscious Minds TV. But yeah, I went there and I've done a little video to go to see if I could see any symbology. Yeah. I just saw the usual stuff like the arch and the two pillars.
Yeah.
I saw there was like a mosaic next to like this picture of Mary, and it had like 12 sections in it. Trying to think, what else did I see?
12 sections. And it's from the 6th century as well.
Yeah, it's from the 6th century. It's the oldest church in the whole of Cyprus.
Wow. So the first church, basically.
Nice, man. Like, yeah, it's proper old, but it still looks nice, like the way it's built and all that. But I couldn't go in it, unfortunately. It was locked, so I just kind of went round it and checked it out. But
was it still pretty well put together, or was it? Had they refurbished it, or?
No, they haven't. Not as far as I'm aware, they haven't refurbished it, but it looks beautiful still, man.
Is it Larnaca? Is that the one?
No, it's not in Larnaca. It's in the Turkish side.
Oh, okay. Do you know what it's called?
Oh, well, I don't know what this, but it's in a place. What, are you trying to search it?
Yeah, I'm just having a
Yeah, type in BOL.
BOL, yeah.
TA.
Yeah.
SI. And then put a church or Cyprus and church.
Shout out to you more in the building. What's going on, sis? Yee. Yeah.
Cyprus.
Back in the building. We're back up in this.
It's like got loads of little domes and stuff on it.
Let's have a look at images.
Greek.
Oh, yeah, that's what is it? It's really, really old looking.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, man.
6th century, better be old looking, boy. You know what I mean? I ain't been there doing this for all this long.
Let me just try and get it up. Hold on.
You're gonna share it on the screen?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Just so people can see. Yeah, man, it's a nice church, man. I wish I could go in it though, man. I'd love to see. I went inside another old church. Well, I didn't see that much symbolism. I just know that all churches and all temples are built in the shape of a body. So the altar is always the head, and where the people sit going towards the back is like the lower half of the human body and the feet, basically. I don't know if you was aware of that, Mice.
I think I've heard something, but I heard something more kind of sexual.
Right, go for it, man.
So like that the arch of the, I don't know, blasphemous. I don't want people to think I'm being blasphemous.
Yeah, the arch is like the womb kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're entering.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because that's when you're going through the door, exactly. Because a church, the word church comes from Circe, which is a feminine deity from Greece.
Oh, from Greece?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah, and she used to lure men into her.
Yeah, supposedly. She's got like a... Yeah, so it comes from that because that's why, you know, like you got the word like, because although like Christianity, and you know how I say, like sometimes I've said in the past, like Christianity is based on the sun and Islam the moon and Judaism Saturn, for example. Yeah. That's true, but they also have like each like bits of others in other ones. Like for example, like Circe was connected to the moon. So and like obviously when you think of like a cathedral or a cathode, well that's like the word Cathy, so that's a feminine name, or Catholic. Cathy is based on a cathode, which relates to the moon, whereas the anode relates to the sun.
Okay.
So, like, even if you look at, like, for example, words like Catholic, church, cathedral,
Yeah.
it's got the
Catheter.
word, yeah, Kathy in it, which is a feminine name.
Kathy with a TH or
Yeah, like that, yeah.
yeah, Kathy. Kathy.
Let's actually look up the meaning of Kathy.
Yeah,
Just to
yeah. Good idea. Because that's what I was looking at. Ology. The meaning of ology is the study of or speaking of. So even like that, etymology, you don't realize there's actually two phrases. There's two words going on there.
Yeah,
etymos.
Kathy or Catherine means pure.
Mm.
It says which derives from the Greek. Kathy can also be used as a name, as a given name in its own right. It means pure.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine. That's interesting because Catherine, catheter, urine. Well, now I'm joking.
Bro,
Yeah.
but still, you're like, you might be getting somewhere. I don't know. Like, I know you're like kind of just freestyling, but that's how you work out these stuff sometimes.
Yeah, and let's be honest, man. These people are perverted, man. They do shit like where you don't realize like this word sounds like that word, and you know,
like,
even
like entrance is like a really good one. Like entering a trance, like that's so obvious, but until it's brought to your attention.
Entrance, entering a trance, to enter a trance.
Trance, yeah.
Yeah, because now, you know, there's that thing where they talk about, there's three words that were very, very intertwined and linked, I should say. But you wouldn't think it's something to do with like imagination. I think magic.
Yeah, it must be magic.
And
yeah, magic.
Image. Yeah. I think because there was a time when all I could do was explain something to you. You know, like simpler times. I'm explaining something to you, so now I'm putting that image in your head. You know, it's not in front of you, is it? But it's an image that I'm planting in your head, which is a form of magic in a way. If you close your eyes and you feel like you're in purple fields.
If you're explaining something to someone, but you're not showing them like a slide or an image, then they've got to think for themselves in their own mind. They've got to try it, like you said.
They create that image.
Conjure up an image, exactly, of what it might be.
Conjure up.
Conjure up, yeah. Look at that. Conjure up an image. Yeah. And then it turned into, oh, you know, once man started learning, like, right, man can make things still, you know, man can put this block here. And now I'm putting that image in front of you. That's another form of magic for me to be able, whoa, look what how did you do that? You know, they don't know how many years it took you to learn this craft or whatever, where you could chisel out some stone and it looks like whoever, you know, wow, how did you do that? You've created this image and it's come to life. I saw it in my head at first, but now it's here in front of me. This is what I saw, you know? It's some next level. So you're like, right, for real, boy, this shit is all intertwined. Like, all they have to do is put it in your head and you believe it's real. That's proof for you.
Yeah, because they say that, like, in the Bible, I think there's a part when I think Jesus says, ye are gods, like the creator or something like that. Don't quote me, I'm not the best when it comes to the Bible, but what that was trying to say is that we are creators ourselves as well. So like we can, like you say, for example, you can think of an idea and then, which is the more mental part of it, and then the physical part of it is creating it in the physical realm. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's two parts to it. There's like a metaphysical side to it, and there's a physical side to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would say, like, for example, an analogy you could give is that the metaphysical side of it is your God side doing it, but then when you're making it, it's your Saturnian side doing it, because Saturn's about building and what makes structures. So that's how, like, we are a yin and yang in ourselves. Like, our body, I would say, is Saturnian, whereas our spirit is godly.
And so that's the idea of us being of physical form. We're at the low end of the bottom arc in it, where like where what's it called, like the different forms that come from mineral and then into soul,
right.
and but we're like at a low point, and what the idea is for us to ascend upwards into the higher realms.
Yeah.
And that's when we, I guess we're going back to what you're saying about us gaining whatever knowledge through the yugas and all that. Man, we ain't got that time, man. But let's try to be woke now, bro. Fuck that.
Because it's like, like going back to the whole, like, just to touch up on it quickly, we was talking about this the other day. You know how, like, there's a thing about, like, the transgender movement and this and that, and a lot of things going on in relation to that at the moment. And we was talking about how, like, spiritually inside of us and the way we're actually all hermaphrodites, because we have a left brain and a right brain, which is a masculine and feminine brain. So we all have masculine and feminine qualities within us, but in the physical realm we're not. We're either male or female. So that's like you get split from the two that are together, and then you get to be one or the other, basically.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So like how, for example, the yin and yang, the black and white light, has to come together for the rainbow to be created, if that makes sense. So
the checker floor in.
Yeah, exactly. The checker floor in the Freemason lodges is 64. 6 and 4 equals 10, which equals 1, which is unity. And then, like, yeah, it's the whole black and white things everywhere, even in, like, when you get married, for example. With the bride and the groom. And so what I'm saying is just like, we exist on different levels in different ways, like, is what I'm saying. So like spiritually, or like our kind of non-physical side of how we feel and how we think, what I'm saying, people can it's polarized, is what I'm saying, because like we all have masculine and feminine qualities, like within us. Like I said, like, for example, when a man might be affectionate to his kid, or to, like, or just whatever, he's showing his motherly side to nurture his children. But that don't mean he's gay, for example. Do you get what I'm saying? So like each one of us have masculine and feminine energies within us, but on the exterior we can only be one, basically. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, for sure. I think, like, for sure there's something to it, because like in other, like, I didn't know this, but then even when we're in Peru, like in other cultures, certain cultures I should say, they kind of accept that there's more than 2 sexes. They're like, there's 4 or there's 5, or, like in sort of indigenous, and you're like, oh, right, okay. So, but obviously I don't know how long that's been going on, or this, that, and the third, but it must be something to it. And the other thing is as well is that when you learn about the genital, like the genital area, where it's like basically, inside out type thing. There's, it's like the ovaries, the testicles, and he's just like, what? Oh, right. So of course there's gonna be times when it doesn't, the rivers don't run as smooth as right, and things come up. I think there's like a bunch of people that are just using it and whatever, creating this sort of division, but with it, but like with everything. But I think you're right.
They're using it more on a material level, which is wrong, because it's not wrong. What I'm saying is, whereas that kind of, because the whole point what I'm trying to relate this back to is like how, like Adam and Eve. Before they were one being. I don't know if you were aware of that. They're literally the same person.
She was made from his rib.
Yeah, and then they got separated. Basically.
That's interesting.
So that's like us.
Atoms get separated.
What I'm trying to say is, spiritually, we're both. But then when we do whatever, we get separated, and we either become an Adam or an Eve.
Not Adam and Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Adam and Steve, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. All that relates to like. That's what I'm trying to say is like what these stories in like the Bible where they say, oh, like Adam and Eve was one being. What that's telling me is that it's just talking about unity consciousness. Because for example, if there's a singularity point, and that singularity point is what creates everything, then it must be everything. So it can't just be either male or female. It has to be both.
So do you think that's sort of the undertone of like we are all one? Is like it's not just about the exterior, it's about understanding what's within and realizing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what it should be about that we are all one in the interior, but they've switched it to an exterior thing, is what I'm trying to say, which is why I was explaining what I was explaining. It's like they've done a switch, like they've just switched it around.
Yeah.
Like they always do. That's their tactic.
That's humans though.
Yeah.
We externalize all, like that's what projections are. We externalize all these internal things, and then things that we're doing, we make other people do it.
Yeah.
They're not really doing it. We just say you're doing this, and it's like no, that's what you think they're doing because that's what you would do in that situation. So. So we for some reason we can't stop externalizing all this internal stuff. So I totally agree. I just think also that you got to back at the source, whatever the source is. It is two things because electricity is a positive and a negative charge, and that runs through everything. So it's not one thing at the source; it's two things, but it's probably one thing going in two directions.
Yeah, that's the thing, innit? And it's like us but this is what I was saying, is like, wow, they got us going back and forth about all this other external shit and then kind of forgetting the union of male and female and what it really means, innit? And how, and so that's always sort of there at the core of any whoever's pissed off with this, that, and the third, then it's also like, and you lot. It's like,
but the positive and negative can never be the same. So
no, they can't be the same.
All these,
they got to understand
things,
that they are though, and just leave. And
that's so if there's differences, people should just have to respect the differences.
Exactly.
That's it. Rather than being like, no, I've got to turn you into a negative charge. It's like, no, I'm a negative charge. You're a positive charge. We're never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Just
exactly,
put
bro.
up with it.
That's such a good point that you've made, because like I was telling my cousin who was having a chat in the park yesterday, I said like I've come to like the realization that like sometimes you think, oh, when's the world going to be more peaceful and we can all be rosy and all get on and this and that, and then I've come to a realization that I'm kind of asking for something impossible, because we live in a world of electricity which has polarization. So there has to be this positive and negative influences, because that's how this realm works.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because otherwise, if everything was all good, there'll be no meaning to life. So, and we have to have these opposites to learn what things are. So sometimes, like Dan said, like sometimes you just got to put up with something and accept it, and not try and change that negative charge into a positive charge. Just let it be a negative charge, because that's what its job is at the end of the day.
Yeah, and your job is to just fucking let that be and just swerve. You know what I mean?
Its job is to literally rub up against you the wrong way. That's why you feel bad. That's why it pisses you off.
It's so true.
You're just like, that's a negative charge.
It's a negative charge. Wow. Yeah. Shout to you more. Big up BLA.
But
it's true, man. It's true.
It's interesting you brought that negative charge though, But negative charge is good when it comes to when you're drinking water, the charge has to be negative. Same with like when you're grounding, you're getting a negative charge because you're kind of
going through
getting
positive
the energy from the earth. So it depends on, negative and positive doesn't necessarily like mean what they mean in what we think they mean.
It's almost the opposite.
All negative means is negating. It means like withdrawing. And then positive just means attracting. That's all it means. Like when you really think about it. Obviously, when you look at the word negative, it's got like, comes from
negative.
Negate. Yeah.
It's got
so
negative.
That means do you get what I'm saying? So like, for example, like they will say, like, I'll just use this as an example. Like a team, like a manager, his tactics were really negative. Like they just sat back and they didn't go for it in football or whatever. But it might have looked negative. But if that thing worked for that football manager and he got a result from being negative, then a good thing comes out of it. So you can like be positive as a manager and say, I'll go out there and attack and try and score goals, but then lose 4-0. So what I'm trying to say is both of those things can be used for good and bad things, if that makes sense.
It's the intent, as with anything.
Something I learned was to do with law, like, so obviously legislation versus law. Yeah. And that, so when you're talking about positive law, that's actually what they've made up, like man-made legislation and statutes and whatnot. But negative, like you said, to negate. I don't want any of your benefits, your privileges. I don't want to be taxed. I don't want to be extorted. I don't want to be kidnapped. I don't want any of that. You negate it. That's a negative law is actually what we want, where God's the only ruler. If I walk into that lines, then I'm more likely going to get shredded up. Do you know what I mean? If I do wrong, then wrong's more likely going to happen. As simple as that. Yeah. But instead, they got us believing everyone wants to kill each other. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's angry with each other. It's hot. I've got all these kids. People. I'm worried because I'm seeing all of this stuff going on. So you think it's planted in your head now that it's possible if I go to the shopping mall. You know what I mean? Or Americans, I should say, if I go to the shopping mall, I might get popped off, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want these new Jordans. That's all, man. These J's, son. You know what I mean? You've got people worried as hell. And it's like, really, turn to your neighbor, ask your neighbor, are you pissed off? Do you feel like killing anybody? Do you, have you been, you know what I mean? But as long as the image is put in our head, and shout to BLA, he mentioned another word that's similar, manifest. So in terms of that, image, magic, imagination, things manifest. When something manifests, there's the MA in there, bam.
Manifest, well, the word mano means hand, I think, in Spanish.
So it's almost like hand creating, isn't it?
You manipulate or maneuver or like manifest, manage.
Deep. That's deep, man.
Mano means hand.
Yeah, mano.
That's what the man is defined by, the hand, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
Your fingerprint.
That's why, like, like the Hebrew, you got to watch a guy called Stan Tenen. He's got Dance of the Hebrew Alphabet. He does it because, like, the like, like the Jewish the Hebrew alphabet. It's all like, it's like a kata. When you do karate and you got to do like a sequence.
Yeah.
When you do the Hebrew alphabet, you got to use your hands. So you go Aleph, Bet, Gimel. And you got resh, you touch your head, and kuf, and there's all these different signs for each letter, basically. Yeah, I can't remember. What was the initial point we was talking about before this? Why have I started talking about this? I don't know.
Because it was to do with manifest. And you
about the hand. Yeah, about the hand. And he talks about how the hand and how it's important and how it's based on the man.
Yeah, I've seen that. So isn't that what palm reading kind of stems from? So that parts of your hand also correlate to part of your body, which correlates to
it does.
Organs and.
I'm not too like. How can I say? I don't know much about palmistry or that type of stuff. But I'm just talking about how, like, the word man use. We're talking about the word mano, and it relates to man and the hand and all that type of stuff. There's a guy called Stan Tenen. He explains about all that and connects it to like the Hebrew alphabet, and because look, even by me, for example, like I'm talking to you, but you can see the way I'm expressing myself through my hand and the way I'm moving. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, what is that that makes us do that? Like, look,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm doing
so it's the hand is like showing you how I'm feeling or the vibe I'm on, or do you get what I'm saying? So
deep, man.
Like that Stan Tenen explains is like we unfurl like God's wishes through our hand, basically, or our own spirit, like through the hand. That's why the hand's so sacred. And I'll have to say, if anyone wants to watch this, what I'm talking about, it's called Dance of the Hebrew Alphabet by Stan Tenen. He's a Jewish syncretist. He's a Jewish scholar. Absolutely amazing. If you like all especially with etymology and languages and all that stuff, I really suggest you guys watch that.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like the right thing to do, mother lovers. Take notes, man. Take notes. All right, so let's take a little break and give a shout out to the CMOS boss, of course. We got to make sure we give them a shout out because, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get a discount from these mother lovers, all you got to do is hit them up. When you get to the checkout, put in about 20 and you'll get yourself a discount. Let me tell you about these mother lovers, dog. You know what I mean? When it comes to CMOS, sea vegetables, I should say, not just CMOS, man. There's a whole bunch of different products up on the cmosboss.co.uk. You can get yourself some real Irish moss gel, which is ready-made gel that you can just take a tablespoon, scoop, put in some hot water, zhuzh that up, put in some milk, put in some whatever you want, man, but don't put in too much madness. And you'll get a whole bunch of nutrients out of that. You can get the Irish moss raw, so you can make your own gels. You can also get a mixture of gel with bladderwrack. And bladderwrack is really high in iodine, so really good for your throat area, your old, what do you call it? Your thyroids and whatnot. Thyroids help you sort of balance. The whole thing with your body is all about balance, and thyroids will help you secrete like any sort of toxins you may have. So if you've got thyroid problems, it's probably good to try the bladderwrack because it will help the functioning of your thyroids to get all that shit out. Also, you can get spirulina, like raw spirulina as well. I've been taking that. It's decent. It's decent, man. Definitely is really good. How
does that come? In just like a powder or?
No, it's like dry the leaves. You know.
So I've had the powder before, and it's just all that stuff's just trash.
No, man, all that powder
stuff. What they've done to it.
Yeah, that's why it's got
freeze dried and all sorts of chemicals.
Yeah,
I tried it before. It weren't very good.
Yeah. I use iodine as well, man.
Right, nice. Okay. Yeah, iodine's banging, man, for cuts and things like that as well. Yeah. Jeez.
What's that you've got? Is that Lugol's iodine? Is that what it's called?
The one I've got is from. It just says high purity iodine 15. It's innovative naturopathics. I just ordered it online basically because I ordered it because obviously because of me not eating meat or fish. That's why I use it to like top up on the iodine.
Yeah, supplement. Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah, so that's
what you could also do is hit up the CMOS boss because they got a whole bunch of these products. Wakame, which is a really good sea vegetable, banging. Like Japanese love their wakame, and you get them seaweed salads. That's usually wakame, so you can make up your own little seaweed salad. There's sea spaghetti as well, which is like top notch, man. And the flavor as well, it's not too salty. People might think it is, but once you boil it up to the right sort of texture, you know what I mean, it works. They've also got some new products, sea salt and kelp seasoning, as well as you can get the original Irish seasoning. That's banging as well. And you can get Dose Bites, which is a new one as well. Dose is really good. A whole bunch of B vitamins in there. When it comes to things like sea moss as well, high in calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, zinc, copper, manganese, selenium, a whole bunch of other shit you might not never know nothing about. You get something like 92 minerals found in sea moss.
Yeah.
Bro.
They say there's 92 of the 108. Something minerals it's found in sea moss.
Levels,
I went
man.
through a sea
Vitamin
moss
D.
stage myself, but then I got bored of it and I just left it. I bought the actual
Gel.
sea moss and boiled it and made the gel, and I used to put it in like yogurts and stuff like that. But then after a while, I don't know, I got bored of the whole thing. So I might, if I do it again, I might get the capsules or something.
Sometimes I think when you reach that point where you're like not interested in something, it's that you've achieved whatever it was you're trying to get out of it anyway, if you know what I mean. So it is quite high in lots of stuff that we're lacking. So if it I think it's like, if I get bored with a food, it's because I've had enough of whatever's in that food that I was looking for. So
it's definitely like I think it's a game changer, because I've tried different sea mosses before as well. Like I've got stuff from, the corner shop and whatnot, and even like people that are selling it online. But what I've noticed with this, because I made sure I tried it first, innit, D? I was like, all right, let me give it a month or two.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, this is like, I could see the difference. And all now it's like, bruv, when my nails grow back, they grow back tough. Like I'm ready to climb up rock. You know what I mean? Bareback. Like not literally. Well, maybe in this heat. But yeah, climb up rock, Wolverine style. You know what I mean? My hair's growing like crazy. I got to get a haircut every 2-3 days. Like, what the fuck's going on here? You know what I mean? And skin, obviously, same thing. Is like regeneration. I get a little cut. It's like there today, tomorrow. I'm like, where did I cut myself? Now, all right, not to work, but a few, way less days. So I really see the benefits of it, and that's why I really appreciate that they're letting us push their product, because obviously people should know by now that the quality of these seed vegetables comes straight from Ireland, and what makes the products different is that the sea moss and sea veg is 100% wildcrafted, not farmed on ropes like most others on the market. The products are certified by the Irish Organic Association and harvested from the rocks, which allows the veg ample time to sit in the pools of cold sea water. So when you think, and the waters are replenished by the tides, giving them time to absorb the essential minerals, because obviously where they are is quite rough, and so obviously surviving, as being wildcrafted, surviving on the rocks, what should we say? It's a form of alchemy, like taking the minerals from the rocks and turning that into something that we can ingest, and there's no problems. If we're trying to suck on the rock, bruv, good luck, man. Good luck, boy. Good luck with them kidneys down.
Mice, have you used activated charcoal before?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, I have, Did
you find it any good?
I think I only used it a couple times, so I can't really say, it was one of them, like you said, where I just didn't stick to, because it's like you're meant to take the tablets in it, and then it will absorb.
You can get the tablets or the powder. Tablets are better because the powder's long, like it gets everywhere and like stains your carpet. It's good though for like, and it's something you're not supposed to do every day anyway, because it like proper, like it totally saps your body. Like literally, what it does is, because the activated charcoal is a negative charge, going back to what we was talking about, when it goes through the body, it attracts all the positive stuff, and it basically, it doesn't scrape it off. It's like the positive stuff gets attracted to the negative stuff, and then when you release, it releases like all the metals and
toxins,
like, stuff that all the toxins from your body and that. So, but it's best to do it like maybe once a week or twice a week, if that makes sense, rather than doing it every day.
Yeah, it's a bit dangerous, man.
Yeah.
So let me finish up on this. Hit up the seamossboss.co.uk and make sure you type in about 20, in capitals, that is, about 20, and you'll get yourself 20% off any of these wildcrafted sea vegetables, mother lovers. Yeah, sorry about that. Just had to make sure people.
No, sorry, bro. I thought you were finished.
Nah,
I'm
it's all good.
sorry for jumping in the middle, man. I didn't realise, bro.
No, that's all good. It's really interesting, man, talking about like how we communicate with our hands, man. Someone mentioned something about sign language and whatnot. Yeah, BLA. And it's true, man. Like so many conversations you have where hands just come out. And there's times when you don't really notice it, and there's times when you do, like, right, my man moves his hands like, what's he always
and they,
or the guy
and
that's
they
always
have
tapping
like
your shit. So he's tapping you, bruv, you know what, yeah? You know what? Like, bruv, stop tapping me, man.
and all of the politicians that have been trained to like do this when they're talking. And it's to stop them using their hands, because you'd really know what they're talking about if they could use their hands, because they'd be going like this to you the whole time. But instead, they just have to do this now. They go and then and we're going to make sure that we reach the targets. They do that all the time since Tony Blair. It's been like this thing of like
just keep your hand.
Just keep your hand in one position and don't give away anything.
Yeah.
Just means they're keeping us under the thumb.
Well, there you go.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just being silly. I don't really know what it is. I'm just being silly.
Maybe that's like the secret, because that's what BLA's saying in the chat, is that sign language could be regarded in some ways as superior. I wonder if there's a sign language battle league going on somewhere. Lol. Because all the secret societies use sign language. Yeah, all the groups use some form of sign language. And
the gangs do it as well.
Yeah.
Well, where did the gangs get it from? I'm like, where are they getting these gang sounds from?
Another theory, bro. Like, it might have. So it probably does have its roots in. It does, because you have to do initiations. You have to do
red and blue.
Yeah, it's just it's
bro, black and white.
Everything stems
green
like
pie.
There's some connection. Obviously, it's on a lot much of a lower like echelon. But what I'm saying is, it's still that hierarchical structure.
Nature, yeah. And it's also like promoting a certain lifestyle. When you're thinking about all the gang shit, it's promoting a certain lifestyle that chaos that you can create order from, you know what I mean? And keep it continuous, like keep people out there influencing this shit as well. You know what I mean? Like as much as you can. And so and then it spreads everywhere, where we got Bloods and Crips here, like in the UK and through Europe and all that. Like what the hell? But it's like, for me, obviously with the mind now, I'm like, yo, them gang signs, where do you think that's from, man? They ain't someone's teaching them to do all that shit and come up with what? Bam, 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 bam. Like, what is all this, man? Like, who? That's some Masonic shit, man. You can't lie. Like, the heart signal. Like, that man are doing simple shit like this, like on the man like this, like on the picture. When you see the painting of Lord Smotherington of Smithers, it's like that.
Yeah.
Next man's like that. Like, these man, it's like, what? Nah, man, that's some advanced shit, bro. Like, if only we could learn it, boy. I wonder if there's a connection with that then, and the hand thing that you were talking about earlier.
There must be, like, I reckon there is, like, because I reckon, again, I've heard this, but I think the whole Blood and Crip thing was set up by them in the first place to keep the communities in poverty and to keep them fighting amongst each other and this and that. Like that, I wouldn't be surprised if that whole thing was a setup. But again, I don't know. Like I've seen documentaries in the past about like the Bloods and Crips, and like the theory that this documentary told me was that like basically because of like, like the civil rights and all the riots in like the 60s and all that, basically people thought, all right, we're not getting no protection from no one, so we've got to form our own gangs for protection. And that's how the Bloods and Crips started. That's like a theory I've heard.
But it started in jail or whatever.
That's how the mafia started in Italy as well, is that after the unification of Italy, because it was all separate kingdoms before then, and lots of people obviously worked for the local king because they had like, they had kingdoms. all around Italy. So there's like 7 kingdoms or something, and those people couldn't get employment anymore because they'd been working for a king, and now it was just a state set up. So they set up their own small sort of black market employment and protection groups, you know, that would make sure that they looked out for each other and give you this family jobs and all that sort of thing. And it sort of just developed into a parallel society that's alongside the state. That's why there's all, you know, different mafias around Italy. It's not just one mafia.
That's interesting, man.
And it
All
obviously went into
different.
protection. They started protecting businesses, you know, making them pay money to protect the business. But then it all gets corrupted and,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, I guess that's probably when it starts, and it's like, oh, we've got to protect you. You need protection.
Who from? Us.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And then families, and yeah, that's interesting. And you're saying about kingdoms, so that even that word, if you break that up, that's like the king, because there were different kingdoms, there were different kings. So that was the king's dominion, innit? That's the king's dominion.
Yeah.
And then you got freedom, free dominion. Like that means it's still enclosed in something, innit? Like, so we want to be free, basically. We don't want no freedom. We want to be free. You know what I mean? We're right here. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. Myself, MysDiggi, co-host Dan DNA, and we got our brother DVG in the building, man. Conscious Minds TV. Do subscribe to his YouTube channel if you want to learn more about so many different things, man. Like the things that really interest me as well that you do is the stuff to do with religion. Now, I know it's a touchy subject for people, do you know what I mean? But it's like I've seen a lot of stuff to do with Judaism and Christianity, but then you touch on sort of stuff to do with Islam. And what I'm interested in a lot is obviously the whole sort of worship, like the idea of the allegory of the skies involved in all of that. You know what I mean? Like, because I just find it interesting because it kind of shows you how much they've seen that we didn't think you could do without, you know, we didn't think you could do that unless you had some mega telescope type thing. But there's obviously ways they were seeing shit going on in the skies. And you were the first time I ever heard about stuff being involved in Islam as well. You know what I mean? So what was that like when you started noticing bits and bobs?
It was just like, you know what? Like Santos Bernardi said that all religions are astrotheology. So I thought to myself, all right, he's done the Christian and Judaism thing. Let me dive into the Muslim thing, something different that not many people have done. But I've noticed through my research in doing that there are people that have done work on it as well.
Right.
And I'm like downloading PDFs and stuff, and like it's interesting because I'm like, it's just building on the knowledge that I've already found as well. Like I've been like before I went to Cyprus, like earlier this part of the year. Yeah, I found like a lot of new stuff. Like, for example, like the sun is mentioned 33 times in the Quran.
Wow, that's a powerful number, isn't it?
So, from the first mention of the sun to the last mention of the sun, there's I think it's 5,778 verses. And 5778 is the temperature surface of the sun. But what they've done from the first mention of the sun to the last in the Quran, there's that many verses, 5778. But that 5778 Kelvin is the temperature surface of the sun. So like what I'm saying is, even like within the Quran, there's like hidden little things like that just they're occulted basically if you don't know. Do you get what I mean? So and also there's I've got a copy of the Quran, but it's
what did you say? 5778.
Yeah, is the temperature 5778 Kelvin. K is the temperature surface of the temperature of the sun.
Oh, it's 5778 kelvins. Yeah.
So I recently found like those things out as well. I also found out that Islam is based on the number 9.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And there's a code again in the Quran by if you follow the 9 times table, you can find out about each one of their lunar months. So for example, chapter 9 will be about the first Islamic month.
Oh,
That
my
actual
days,
chapter
bro.
in the Quran. And then, so if you, the next number in 9 times table is 18. So then if you go to chapter 18, it's about the second month in the Islamic lunar calendar. Then if you go 9, 18, 27, then at 27 will be about the third month. So they have that encoded in the Quran as well.
Wow.
Through their chapters. So by following the 9 times table, you can find out about each one of their months in the Quran, basically.
Wow.
It's a mastermind business, bro.
And also, Islam in Gematria comes to 54, which is 9 as well.
5 plus 9. 5 plus 4, sorry, 5 plus 4.
Yeah. So even in the Gematria, it relates back to 9.
5, 7. Oh,
Yeah.
man. This is deep, man.
And 5778 also, when brought to a digital root, that's also number 9 as well, by the way.
Yeah. 27. Because it goes to 27 and then 2 plus 7, 9. That's what when you said that, I was looking at that thinking, this is nuts. Yeah.
So there's a lot of like, and also as well, what's interesting is that when you look at like, like the Kabbalah, the 10 Sephiroth.
Yeah.
In like each one of the Sephiroth is based on a luminary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So like Saturn is 3, the sun is 6, and the moon is 9. And Islam is also based on the moon, has a lunar calendar, but in the Hebrew system, it's the 9th Sephiroth. So again, you see the moon has that connection to the 9 again.
That's pretty deep, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like basically, I've done a thing on Syncretism Society. It's called Israel 3, 6, and 9, and I talked about how like the third Sephiroth is Saturn, so that's Judaism. That's El, and then Ra is 6, which is the 6th Sephiroth, the sun. So that would go with Christianity. And then the 9th Sephiroth is the moon, which will go with Islam. And that's the Israel and like the Holy Trinity and the 3 Abrahamic religions, which are the Holy Trinity in itself. That's why they're all from the same Abraham. So like, yeah, there's so much stuff, bro. I could go on. I don't know. Is there anything more specific you want to ask, or should I just share what I've been finding out?
Yeah. Share away, man. If anyone's got any questions, shout to Regentology in the building. What's going on, bruv? Do hit us up in the comment section.
Yeah. I think I might have mentioned this in another show before, but I can't remember if I have or not. But like, I read in 2 books that I don't know if you know about like Muhammad flew on a winged horse, like a white Pegasus horse, and he went through like the 7 heavens to reach God, basically. Obviously, those 7 heavens are our 7 chakras, or 7 planets, or the 7 colors of the electromagnetic spectrum. That 7 represents many things. But apparently, when he went through each heaven, he come across a patriarch or like a prophet basically. And in this book called Mystical Astrology by Ibn Arabi, he explains that how each prophet was a guardian of each heaven. So each prophet had a connection to one of the planets. So, for example, Abraham was Saturn. This is in the Muslim system.
Right.
Moses was Jupiter. Aaron was Mars. Enoch was the sun. Joseph was Venus. Jesus was Mercury in this one. And Adam was the moon. And basically what the story is that they were the guardians of each of those 7 levels.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
And, yeah, basically. And like each one of those prophets kind of relate to or kind of have an energy in relation to that luminary, for example. Like Aaron being Mars makes so much sense because again, because in Turkish is Harun, in Islam is Harun, but in like English is Aaron, but A and I are interchangeable. So if you change the A to an I, you get iron, and iron is the metal of Mars in alchemy.
I was also thinking Aaron.
Aaron, iron, basically. It's the same word because A and I are interchangeable.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I was
also thinking... it makes sense that Aaron is Mars, if that makes sense.
And Mars rules Aries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Aaron, exactly.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, so Abraham, like I said, Abraham was Saturn, Enoch the sun. They made Joseph Venus and Adam the moon. But what I'm saying is there's loads of different astrotheological stuff related to Islam. Like there's 28 letters in their alphabet, and each letter is based on, I don't know if you know what lunar mansions are in astrology.
No.
So basically, every day, there's a whole zodiac's 360 degrees, right? But every day in 24 hours, the moon progresses 13 degrees along the circle.
Right.
So 13 around the whole wheel is 28, basically. It will be 28 13s.
Yeah.
So that 28 is the amount of letters in the Islamic calendar, and so the letters are based on the 28 lunar mansions.
Wow.
Basically.
Right.
As well, which I read in this book called Mystical Astrology by Ibn Arabi.
Wow.
But there's another book I downloaded recently called Esoteric Islam. I found out so many things in there as well. How can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, share away. Shout out to IBMC's in the building. Don Smithers, yeah, man, all good, man. Better late than never,
Rather
mate.
than me just because I know it, but some of the intricate details I forget.
Nah,
so I'll just share my screen and show it to you guys.
Yeah. Hold on, let me just give you a bigger screen. Hold on.
And breaking down to the number 9, whilst D does that, think about that circle you're talking about, 360 degrees. In numerology, take away the 0. So what's 3 and 6 is 9.
Yeah,
and then you
there's
look at
loads.
Each angle, what is it like? You got 45-degree angle, was 4 and 5.
Yeah.
You got 90-degree angle.
360, 3 and 6.
180, yeah.
180.
1 and 8 is 9. It's like, wow, 9 seems to be a divine number for real, man.
Yeah, I've done a show on that in the Syncretism Society called the Divine 9.
I see it there.
Because that also corresponds with the processional numbers. For example, there's the firmament processes 1 degree every 72 years. 7 and 2 is 9. Each year is each age is 2,160 years. 2 plus 1 plus 6 equals 9 as well. But a great year is 25,900 years. That also reduces to 9 as well. The 144,000 in the Bible also reduces to 9 as well. So yeah, like I did a whole show on particular numbers that reduce to 9, basically called the Divine 9, and how Ramadan in Islam is also on the 9th month, and that's like the holiest celebration. And because 9 is like the end and the beginning, because it's like a transformation number. Because obviously, as we know, like from 9 you go back to 1, and also like it's like a death and birth, because after 9 months we come into a new life. So number 9 is like quite a significant number.
And the 9 months of pregnancy is 28 days. 9 times 28 days.
Yeah.
So it's lunar months again.
Yeah.
28.4. 28.4.
Can I share the screen now?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You lot link up DVG on the syncretismsociety.com. He's dropping knowledge on there on the regular.
It's saying that I can't. You're not letting me.
I think you gotta allow.
It says It said you disabled it. It was probably on already.
Hold on.
Yeah. 9. What happened to the rapper 9, man? N-I-N-E. I wonder if he knew like how deep this number is. That's why he chose that name. What you want, 9?
It says who can share all participants. Try now.
Yep, there you go.
Try now. Yeah, syncretismsociety.com. Make sure you subscribe. Get some lessons in.
Let me know. Can you see me scrolling through my stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just going to resize your screen a little bit.
All right, so let's go here.
Oh.
Open.
Roll call, by the way. What's the roll call, mother lovers? What you lot blazing on? Come on with it. Let it fly.
Skywalker.
Not just chill. Huh?
Skywalker.
Ooh, Skywalker OG. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's that spicy. That's nice, man. Skywalker OG, definitely.
Can you see my screen then, yeah? Can you see the slides? Yeah. Yeah, so this is what I was telling you just now about how, look, Saturn, Abraham resides in the sky of Saturn, Moses in Jupiter, blah, 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 blah. This was the first day of the Islamic calendar and how the planets aligned.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's interesting that the sun was in Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by the moon.
And this is according to which calendar?
This is according to the Julian calendar. It's up here. You can see it, 15th of July, 622.
Wow. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting alignment as well, where all these are lining up.
Definitely. So that was the day.
Yeah, that was the first day of the use when the Islamic lunar calendar started, basically.
Interesting. So we've been told, we should say, innit?
Yeah.
So we've been told.
Yeah.
Because that's why I was even asking about according to which calendar, because it's like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, this is something I kind of deciphered. I've put Allah, what is 34 comes to 7. I just put Allah, the gematria of the word Allah equals 7. The new month of the Islamic lunar Hijri calendar starts at the sighting of a waxing crescent moon, which is 7% of the moon illuminated. The moon is 16 degrees away from the sun when the crescent moon is sighted. 16, 1 and 6 equals 7. So that was just my own decipher.
That's interesting.
But you can see the 7 in the t-shirt as well, obviously.
And that's the flag, isn't it? Isn't that like the Islamic flag, the moon, crescent moon with the star?
So yeah, so it's definitely. So I think Allah is connected to 7, whereas Islam is connected to 9.
Right.
So that, from what that tells me, I'm not saying this is true because people might say, "Oh, you're chatting shit," or people might get offended. But going by the numbers, Allah is more to do with the physical world, because 7 is to do with Saturn, the 7 colors of the electromagnetic spectrum, whereas 9 is to do with the spiritual world. So they would be the two differences from my understanding.
Would you say the numbers came first then, with all of this? Because it seems like everything, it seems to link to the numbers and in some magical way, and it's like, what? How can...
I don't know. I just think numbers are just like, yeah, they just have a particular weight to them, which is why they're called grammar. Like a gram, like it's a measurement, isn't it?
Grammatical.
So I guess that's why it's called grammar, because each thing weighs something.
It has some weight to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man ain't got no weight to what he's saying though. Like, I don't believe him. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, there's got to be weight behind what.
And also, I would say words are qualities, whereas numbers are quantities.
Well, the fact that they link these qualities to certain quantities.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're saying a word, then someone goes and looks at that gematria and then links all these other words to it. You know, it just seems too like, rah. Like, okay, so when did this begin? How did they even think like, all right, you can link these things? Okay, so which came first then? Chicken or the egg type thing? You know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know really, if I'm being honest, but yeah, it's just, again, it's just like that yin yang thing. I guess they just both have to be there.
Shout out to the roll call mother lovers. Yeah, man, I'm on some Black Line Reserve, some Sunday sherbet. Shout out to the Lab Cats. You know what I mean? Shout out to your Moore, says she's on some gelato cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Don Smithard, Sunday Driver Rosin, Runts, Purple Dog Pollen, oh, Filtered Beauty. Okay. BLA Random Haze, some CBD and terps. Ooh, okay. Yeah, that when it works right, man, the CBD can level you out neatly, boy. I'm telling you. Yeah, man. We're here with DVG, man. Jeez, going in right now, boy. He's going in, breaking down some of the magic created. I guess, who can we say? The Magi, is that what we call them? The priest class. These people that just understood how language and numbers, particularly, are connected and how they can communicate behind, you know what I mean, or right in front of us, but at the same time behind closed doors, using this language. So what's this?
So basically, I make sense why Islam and pagan Arabs adopted a lunar calendar, as it is right next to the Tropic of Cancer, Cancer being ruled by the moon. The first day of the Islamic lunar calendar started on 15th of July, 622, crescent new moon in Leo and sun in Cancer. Wow. So, and then I put the scarab, the Arab, the crab. So the Tropic of Cancer, as you can see, is right over Saudi Arabia and Mecca. And like I said, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So then this area, or countries that run along this, or places that run along this line, are probably heavily influenced by lunar worship, because this is known as like the lunar portal, basically. Because you got two tropics. You got the Tropic of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, and then you got the Tropic of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So the Tropic of Cancer being ruled by the moon and going through Saudi Arabia and Mecca and all these places, it's interesting that all the pagans around here and Islam adopted a lunar calendar. Again, I don't know if that's just a coincidence, but to me, it's not. It makes sense that why would they adopt a lunar calendar? Well, it makes sense because where they're based is basically one of the strongest parts for the moon in astrology and in astronomy as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
So yeah, and also you get like the scarab, the crab, the Arab. It's all etymologically very similar as well.
Yeah, the scarab. Oh, interesting enough, because the scarab was worshipped because it would, when they watched it push the dung up to the top of the sand mountain or whatever,
Yeah,
sand hill, and then see it rise up. They looked at it as like the sun from the horizon, so that's why it was worshipped, isn't it?
Yep.
So then, how does that switch to the moon? If
that's right for the sun, because once the sun gets up to this part, it can only go back down towards the southern hemisphere. So that's that symbology of what you're talking about. But what I'm talking about is that the sign Cancer itself is ruled by the planet, is ruled by the moon. Each sign has its ruler.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So that's the connection I'm making here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's because you mentioned scarab, but I think there is a connection with the crab and the scarab beetle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this shit is interesting, man. It's so interesting because it's just like knowledge that you never really get. Well, you never really get. You'll never get in school. You'll never get in school. But once you start to see these
here we go
connections, you're like, what? Of course. All right, what's this?
So, for example, this is like Islamic traditions and archetypal persons. So, for example, like each one of these people in the Islamic faith corresponds to one of the planets, basically.
Yeah.
So you've got like Hussein is Mars, Hassan is Jupiter, Fatima is Venus, Ali is Saturn, Muhammad the moon, Imam the sun, for example.
That's interesting.
But it's interesting, you know, where it's got like, for example, you see how Islamic tradition is connected to each one. They make a lot of sense. So, for example, when you think of the word jihadi, what do you think of?
Yeah, war.
Yeah, but look at what planet jihad
Mars.
corresponds with.
That's
Mars.
Yeah, man, God of War.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Wow.
And then Zakat, this the Jupiter one.
Zeus, no?
Zakat, yeah, exactly. That corresponds with Jupiter, but Zakat means charity. And Jesus was a charitable person.
Yeah. That's what he was about. If everyone was charitable, no one would be needing.
You get what I'm saying? So it's interesting when you see the Islamic tradition and this one, the second one, you see where it says Sawm, SAWM, next to Saturn. Can you see that, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's to do with fasting, and Saturn is about restriction. So it makes sense why them two are connected.
That's so funny, man.
When you understand what each one of these means, it's sick, man.
Yeah, this shit is deep, boy. Yeah, that is deep.
But yeah, and also like, you know, like this is talking about how, you know, like when the Muslims pray and they do particular poses, they're phases of the moon. Basically.
Yeah, that's I like that.
Wow.
Very good.
What else have we got on here?
Jeez, man. Hidden, and we're talking about hand signals like sign language. This is using your whole body. And it's like, do man know this?
Yeah, this is about, like, I think we spoke about this before, about, like, you know, they go around the Kaaba 7 times, innit? And I think here the guy just explains, like, the 7 circular times of the circular motion would represent the 7 visible planets, which we spoke about that before, and I knew about that anyway before I even see this, but anything I find from books to back up what I've said, I always like screenshot them so people don't just think. It's always good to have backup references as well.
The primary sources.
Also, it's anti-clockwise as well, so it could be the 1/4 of the moon, because 1/4 of the moon cycles 7 days and it travels anti-clockwise through the sky as you observe the moon. So they could be emulating the moon around.
Exactly, Dan. See, you've just syncretized your own thing, but it still makes sense because, like you say, each quarter of the moon is 7 days.
That's deep.
Follow, and it says followed. It says 3 times at a hurried pace, and then 4 times more closely to Kaaba at a leisurely pace. So how many days is the Hajj? Is it a whole month or something, or what's the?
No, it's a thing. I think basically you see like the different speeds are in relation to like the different planets who have different like quicker and slower orbits.
Right. Yeah.
Like for example, Saturn's orbit through the zodiac is 29 years, whereas the moon's is 29 days. So they're like that's like first and last in the 7.
But how long's the period where people go on the Hajj?
I'm not too sure if I'm being honest. I don't know the exact amount of days that you go for. It could be 3 days. It could be more. I'm not too sure if I'm being totally honest. Okay. But let's see what else I've got. This is just.
Don Smith had asked, so all Abrahamic religions are basically pagans until a prophet gets involved. Am I reading it right?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, it is all based on pagan stuff, really. They won't accept it, but yeah, it is. Yeah, this is just something about Saturn in the Quran.
So man are out there saying them men are pagans, but actually being pagans. There's pagans calling people pagans when they're actually pagans.
But that's just...
Man are pagans, dude, bro. You don't... Oh, dear. What a mess.
Oh, yeah, this is what I was telling you about earlier. You know about the 9 thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
right. Yeah. All reduces to 9, boy. That's crazy, isn't it? 12 constellation, 12 tribes, 12 veils. Represents completion of messengers.
That's just another thing of it. Is that all? Is that the last one? I think that might be the last slide, guys.
I appreciate you doing that, man.
But yeah, like obviously, I've just read the ones that I think are interesting. They're all interesting, but it will take us hours and hours.
Nah, well, I think people, if they really want to get into that, they got to hit you up. Either at Conscious Minds TV on YouTube, or even still get on syncretismsociety.com and subscribe to his lessons, because he's dropping a whole lot of knowledge on there.
I've stopped sharing, guys.
All right. Cheers, brother. Yo, DVG, boy. Bless us with that little gem there. I'm always trying to press the thing.
There's a lot more, brother. But like I said, it's just having it all, like, because sometimes it's best to organize it in a particular way, because then other bits lead on to other bits. And
no, that was,
you know what I mean,
brother. That was very, very eye-opening, man. Because you made there are even more connections there that I never really heard about at all. So
even for example, bro, you know, like, I'll just mention it anyway. Like, I've just come back from Cyprus. I was there for a month because my mum passed away and I had to go there for the funeral. But it was interesting that I even noticed something in her funeral ritual, which was after my mum died, we had to go to the graveyard for the next 3 days in a row before sunrise and pour water on her grave. So I thought 3 days sounds a bit similar to the whole Jesus thing. And also we're doing it before sunrise. So then I knew anyway. So I'm asking all the people in the village, just, oh, why is it they do this? I just want to see if anyone knows.
Mm.
You know, like, I don't know. It's just our tradition. We do it, like, kind of thing. But no one knows the actual reason of why it was. But then I spoke to like a few religious people and the imam, and they said, yeah, it's to replicate the whole Jesus thing, and like, because apparently the soul is still in the body for 3 days after it gets buried, and then it rises up, supposedly.
Wow.
So like, yeah, like, and it's interesting as well because in the astrology, just before sunrise, the sun's in the first house, and the first house is the main house about you as well. So there's like a connection when you look, like, think about it astrologically, as well as like theologically as well. So yeah, like, I noticed that out of all the rituals that they were doing over there, like for the funeral and stuff. But that was after the funeral. Like I said, we just had to get up and go to the grave and pour water on it. We had to do it 3 days, literally straight after she got buried.
Wow. Man, that's interesting, man.
So yeah, it's like, it was crazy as well, bro, because when I got up that morning, I think I've put the video on my YouTube.
Yeah.
It was the first day we had to go and do it was on a Friday, which was Friday corresponds with Venus. And it was crazy, bro. I woke up in the like 5 o'clock in the morning to go down there, and I'm looking at where the sun and looking at the stars, and Venus was just rising in the morning. It looked amazing.
Wow.
I took a picture. I've done a video of it. It's on my YouTube.
Yeah.
And then the sun was just coming up behind it. It looked fantastic, man. Wow. And that's another thing, bro. In Cyprus, stargazing is absolutely breathtaking. Oh my God.
Next level, yeah.
Bro, it is. You'll never see stars like that over here. Like, just goes to show how much pollution and how polluted our skies are when you go to different countries. And bro, there was one night the electrics cut off and it made the stars even clearer. The whole, and I could actually see the Milky Way galaxy going through the middle of Scorpio was just there and Sagittarius was there, and I could just see the line actually going through the sky with my own eyes right in front of me. It was breathtaking, bro. But I just didn't have a device to capture it all.
Yeah, but there's certain things, like you're saying, man. Maybe you're not meant to be able to capture them sort of things, you know?
Yeah, it was good because I had my laptop with me and I got a program called Stellarium. And if you put in like all the coordinates of where you are, it shows you how your sky should look in front of you. So I was looking at the computer and then looking up and seeing that it was identical.
It's accurate. That's a good way to see it there. Do your own investigating to make sure they're on point. I was doing
a lot of those type of stuff and like seeing like, because basically the further south you go from the North Pole, when you see Polaris in the sky, it will get lower and lower in the sky, basically. So for example, here in the UK, Polaris is a lot higher in the sky than it is in Cyprus. It's a bit more lower because the further south you go towards the equator, then Polaris will get lower on the horizon. So I was like looking at things like that to see if it really worked. And it was, because Polaris was a lot lower in the horizon, whereas when I come here and I look up and see Polaris, it's like just there. It's more the angles. Basically, that's how you can tell what latitude of the Earth you're on, by measuring the angle between you and Polaris. So the angle between Polaris and where we are is 55 degrees. So we're 55 degrees above the equator, England, whereas Cyprus, the angle of Polaris is 35 degrees. So Cyprus is 35 degrees latitude above the equator. So
Okay.
by looking at Polaris and measuring the angle, you can tell what part of the Earth you're on in regards to latitude.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So like, I was just like kind of being nerdy like that while I was out there, if that makes sense, and just like seeing if what I've studied made sense, because this was a good way for me to test it out by being in a different country, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because the sun, it made sense because as well, the sun was a lot closer to us in Cyprus, because Cyprus is closer to the Tropic of Capricorn than we are here. So it was more kind of above, near your head. Whereas over here, the sun will never come right near your head because we're too far further up. We're too towards the North Pole, basically.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Because it's the sun is spinning around.
The sun only goes in between the two tropics.
Yeah.
Basically. So in between them two sections is where you'll get the hottest part on Earth, if that makes sense. Can I share my screen again?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just to show you what I mean by that, just so people are clear on what I'm saying.
Makes sense, man. Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Capricorn.
So obviously you can see there's 3 lines here, yeah?
Yeah.
So the top one's the Tropic of Cancer, the middle one's the equator, and the bottom one's Tropic of Capricorn. So the sun only goes in between these, the sun only is directly over this section. It can never come out of this section, which is why in the UK, because we're up here, it will never directly come over our head because it's only directly ever coming over this part.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why when I was in Cyprus, which is just here, it looked like it was almost over my head. So like, you can just test out things to see if it's true, whether like if I'm closer to here, the sun will be here, or looking at different stars, for example. Because depending on where you are on the planet, you may not be able to see particular stars.
Damn, boy. Yeah. That's some knowledge right there, man. Definitely worth checking out the skies, especially if it's clear, man. Like, you know, living in London or living in the cities and that.
Yeah.
Definitely not seeing the same type of sky.
Yeah, it's just coming like, I don't know, with me, because I'm obviously into astrology and looking at the constellations and knowing how things will rise and set, because that all kind of corresponds with how to read a birth chart and how the birth chart works and stuff. So that's why I'm interested in looking at it. But on the same, at the same time, those actual stars, like the actual constellations, for example, don't always have, like, for example, you know how we say like, oh, like now the sun's in Cancer, for example.
Yeah.
But physically, if you used to go outside and check where the sun would actually be, it wouldn't. It's always 23.5 degrees back. So it's usually physically in the sign before. So now it will probably be where in between like Gemini and Cancer, physically in the sky. But because astrology is not based on the constellations, it's based on the seasons. And that each part of the season has a different energy, and that energy is based on that animal. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. So when we say, oh, the sun is in Aries, it don't mean the actual sun is behind the constellation of Aries. In tropical astrology, all that means is March the 21st to April the 20th is Aries, no matter where the sun is actually in the sky or what stars are behind it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's
I don't mean to try and confuse you, but it's just that there's two different
ideologies.
With astrology, like tropical astrology, Western astrology, we just go by the sun's cycle, like where it is at a particular time of the year gives off a different energy to Earth, basically. It's more based on the sun. Whereas in the Indian system, they do it more literally. So it's based on where the sun, like for example, are any of you, so would you guys, like for example, I'll give you an example for me. So like I'm a Scorpio in tropical astrology, but I'm a Scorpio in Indian astrology as well. But for example, my brother and my dad are born on the 11th, which is earlier in Scorpio, 11th of November. But in sidereal astrology, they're Libras because they go by where the sun physically was when you was born. So there's like a 23-degree kind of slippage between the actual seasons and how they line up with the stars, basically. It's like they're not fully aligned. And that's the difference. And some go by the Eastern system, which is they follow where the sun actually is, whereas here in the West, or like the Hermetic system, we go by the journey of the sun. And they're the two differences, basically. And I hope I made that clear and I haven't confused you guys even more. But we can talk about that another time in more detail if you want. And I think I've mentioned it in other shows anyway.
Nah, it was pretty deep because, but then it's got me wondering then which is more accurate. Or is that a thing that's still up for debate?
No, it's not. It's just they're both accurate. They're just two different systems.
Oh, okay, because I guess they're just working on different measurements, but they're still
exactly. They're
the
just
same...
working on different principles.
Yeah.
Basically. One is basically the way I would interpret it is your tropical chart, birth chart, is the person that everyone knows who you are and sees you on a day-to-day kind of basis. But I would say that your sidereal chart is more your like deeper self of who you are inside and how you feel. And so it's like it's like a yin and yang system, if that makes sense. One's for one thing and the other's for another. Because obviously the sidereal as well is based more on the moon, the Indian system. Because they have the lunar mansions as well. But they call them nakshatras. They're like separate star signs. So they really go on, which nakshatra was your moon in? That's like a big thing in their system. Because each one of those, that I explained there's like 13-degree sections earlier. Each one of those 13-degree sections are quite a big thing in Indian astrology. And they're called nakshatras. So they're almost like signs within signs, and like it gets proper intricate, if that makes sense. But I know my nakshatra is called Baharani, for example, in the Indian system. But again, I'm not a expert when it comes to the Indian system. I know it a little bit and I know the basics of it, but what I mainly use and study with is tropical astrology.
Yeah, man, you lot hit him up as well, man, if you want to get any birth charts read. You know what I mean? That shit will help you out for life, trust me. That shit will help you out, man. And you just start to understand how things work in your life. And,
it definitely makes sense, man. It's like, it's just... It's crazy, bro, because you know what, like, I've noticed as well, you know what helped me? Because, like, you know, like how you always feel a particular way at a particular time of year is all to do with your birth chart and how your birth chart works and why you feel shitty and good at particular times of year. And, like, it even goes to show, like, you know, when you go on Facebook and it says, oh, your memories from this and this years, from this, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever. And it's crazy because, like, when I look at them, they always relate to how I'm feeling or what I'm doing at the time. Again, in like different year, but same time of the year, if that makes sense. And that's all based on your, like, knowing what your rising sign is. So do you know your rising sign, Mice?
Rising sign.
You
I
don't?
think it might be. Oh, I can't remember now. Shit, I'm gonna get cussed out.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Don't
You get told off when you get home.
Yeah, I think my rising.
Basically,
sign.
you know where your what your rising sign is.
That's the sign that's coming up on the horizon. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that one. Yeah, that's the start of your. That's like that's your spring, your personal spring. So, like, we've got our own seasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it might be Jupiter, you know.
It's got to be a sign.
Oh, sorry, a sign. What's my rising sign, man?
It doesn't matter, bro. But basically, whatever your rising sign is, when that month comes, is when is a new start for you, basically.
Right.
So, like, I'm a Leo rising, right? So when Leo starts for me, that's my spring. That's my new start. So now I'm in my winter. I'm like, because Cancer's in my 12th house. Is at the end of my chart. So now I'm going through, like, the shit, basically, like the last little bits until I have that new start. And that makes sense of what's been happening with me as well.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, if you know your chart, you can know to prepare, like, or you just know that this time's always rocky, so let me try and think. Like, I always, like, yeah, I do always hate this time of year, but then what, like, I like this part of it now when the Leo season's going to kick in. I think today or tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, that's like the start of my personal springtime. If that makes sense. So, for example, if you've got a Taurus rising, that'll be the start of your spring or whatever your rising sign is, basically. And then whatever your descendant sign is, the sign opposite, is the start of your autumn, your personal autumn. So mine is Aquarius, and I do hate that time of year as well.
Oh, wow.
I really don't like that Capricorn Aquarius time. I just don't like that time of the year.
Coldest time of the year, bro.
Yeah, but again, it's just with astrology and learning it all. It's all good me just chucking things out at you now and saying this and saying that. But the best way to learn about astrology is you got to do it yourself, and you got to read things, and you got to test things out. You got to watch videos and just come to basic understanding of things. And then you'll start seeing, right, like, the more you do it, the more you'll
start
understand
seeing the connections.
Yeah, and like, it will make sense of, like, a good way to do it is just, if you, like, read up about the signs and planets generally, and then just start analyzing your family members first. That's what I did. And then you start analyzing this person and that person, and it makes you just understand why people are the way they are.
Yeah, you see the patterns and you're like, okay.
Yeah, like, some people are quite brash and upfront. Maybe they have a lot of Martian energy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people are, like, a bit more quiet and nice and motherly. They might have more moonly energy, like, ruling their chart. Some people talk a lot. They might have Mercury as their main ruler of the chart. Do Some people are very charitable and whatever. They might have Jupiter. People who want attention, the sun might be the ruler of their chart. So, again, knowing all these different things, it helps you understand. Like, for example, I'm not a Leo. I'm a Leo rising, but my sun sign's Scorpio. But I am quite, but your rising sign is like your general personality. And when I think of myself, I do see myself as a Leo rising because I am kind of sometimes like go on shows and be trying to not seek attention, but just be in the place, like letting yourself be known, basically.
Yeah. You're not afraid.
Obviously, Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun lets itself be known. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why Leo people are very kind of
bold like the lion.
Bold and flamboyant. They might look like they're very egotistical.
Yeah.
Like stereotypically.
Yeah.
I'm talking about we all have an ego, no matter how much you say you do or you don't. We all have an ego at the end of the day. So like, I'm not saying that about Leos to be nasty, but I'm just saying that's what it kind of connects with. So like when you analyze these little things, it all makes sense, man. It just takes a long time. That's the only problem.
Yeah, for sure, man. Deep, boy. Deep. Ladies and gents, man. We got to give it up. Got to give it up for the one and only DVG. Come and bless us. Yet again, mother lovers. Yet again. I think, it might be that time, man. You know what I mean? Unless there's more. Is there anything else you you felt like sharing or?
I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. It depends on if there's anything you guys want to know about, man. I mean, I could talk forever. There's so much stuff. It just depends on if there's anything specific you guys wanted to talk about, or because I don't know, man. There's so much stuff we could talk about. Bro.
Yeah, no. Put it this way, the Islam stuff that you dropped there was phenomenal, bro. Because that's like whoa, like it really connects more than we'd even thought about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all the Abrahamic religions, they're all astral based. Like, it's just that it's just not presented in that way now, or it's just been covered up in that way, intentionally or not intentionally. I don't know, but it's just obvious when you just do a bit of research and you start making connections. Because the thing is, it's just like everything is in this world anyway based on the sky, because that's how time is kind of managed through the sun and the moon and
I was saying that.
So
I was saying that to someone. Like, I was like, do you even realize? Like, think about the clock. Yeah, the clock. Now think about the hands on that clock. One is called the hour hand. So Horus. Yeah. You know what I mean? The hour. And then one is called the minute hand.
Yeah, moon.
So it's like, it's there. It's like everywhere. So whether you want to, admit it or not, it doesn't really matter, because, that's how they run this shit. You know what I mean?
But I heard someone say that the second thing is Mercury, apparently.
That would make sense, man. Because Mercury moves so quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Jeez. Hey, we're going to have to leave you lot there, man. We have to leave them with that one, bruv. You know what I mean? So you lot do some more research. Hit up DVG, please. What you saying? You want to throw out the email out there? Because now you're back in there.
It's consciousminds.tv@gmail.com. I know that's a bit of a long-winded email, but it just is what it is. So it's consciousminds@gmail.com. And if you just want to ask me anything or book a chart reading or whatever, just hit me up and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, man.
Yeah, see it there.
Yeah.
That email's in the chat room, so you can copy that and paste. You know what I mean? Shout out to Regentology. He just said, sat here staring at my watch with new eyes.
Also, why is it a second hand when it's the third hand?
Yeah, it's good. I think
every second.
Because it comes, I think, because you know you've got like sun and moon are kind of in ancient kind of mythology and like in the ancient world, like the sun and moon were like seen as 1 and 2, or no, should I say
seen as 1?
No. In you know, like there's in the Hermetic philosophy, there's an order for the planets, and it goes by their orbits and how quick they are. So, and this is the order it goes: Moon first, Mercury second, Venus third, Sun fourth, Mars fifth, Jupiter sixth, and Saturn seventh. So maybe because Mercury is second in that list, it could be called second. That's the only correlation that I can make.
DVG, boy.
But again, I'm not saying that is why it is. I'm just saying there's
a connection there.
Yeah, there is a connection there. It's called like, and because that's the same order. You know that order I was telling you about, like when Muhammad went through each heaven. It's that same order. If you look back to all the old, like philosophies, like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they all use that order because it's the same in the Sephiroth as well. Because it goes Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn in that order. If you look at the Sephiroth as well, so that's an order that all the religions have kept, and in that order, Mercury is the number 2.
That's that occult.
If you're starting from the moon going up, that is, yeah.
Okay. God damn. You ain't lying there, bro. Yo, thanks for that, bro, man. Really appreciate you coming through, man.
No, thank you for having me on, bro. It's good to like kind of try and I want to start doing a bit more shows and trying to keep my mind occupied and keep busy and just try and talk to people, because like sometimes when you go through a loss and then you just have too much time on your own, all you do is you spend your time just overthinking and thinking about this and thinking about that. So I'm glad that you invited me, and it's good to start kind of talking and refreshing my mind and getting back onto sharing knowledge and stuff, because I haven't done it in such a feels like a really long time since I've done anything like this. So
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man.
That's all right.
Really appreciate it. Because boy,
like I said, with the knowledge, like sometimes like a lot of it on here is like some people might think, oh man, why don't you talk more about it? It's like we're giving like little bits here and there and it's half-hearted. It's not because I want it to be that way. It's just like for us to get a full grasp of it, we'll have to actually sit there and read every slide and then discuss what this means. And that's what I'm saying. When you're studying, it's like
a lot.
You've got to actually sit there and think, oh, what did that mean? And you don't get it. And sometimes you've got to read it again. And
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And yeah, man. But so that's why it's just that it'll be impossible for us to go through it all.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, all right, well, let's do it again, man. Let's do it again in the next couple of weeks, man. And yeah, man, we'll get a few topics down and then like we'll go through, because yeah, man, that means a lot, man. Definitely. Yeah. You know, let alone that you're taking the time out, but if we're fucking helping you as well, bruv, that's like love, because obviously we don't know what we can do when we're, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, shout me if you need anything, but you know, you never know what. So yeah, that means a lot, man. Really felt that, bruv, man.
It's all good, man.
Yes, man. DVG, Conscious Minds TV. Make sure you hit him up. You'll gain a lot of knowledge, man. Trust. But we'll have him back on again, right here, on some shit you might not never know nothing about. Right? Yeah, I'm not good with this button, man. I ain't. Yeah, trying to. Yeah. Yes, man. Fire. Let's see some fire emojis, man. Some love in the building. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the latecomers. We appreciate you all the time, bitches and bitchettes. No discrimination, by the way. No discrimination. Yeah, man. Before we bounce, we got to give a shout out to, of course, the Cannasseurs UK, and shout out, of course, the CMOS boss. Let me get that right, man. cmosboss.co.uk. But before we go, Cannasseurs UK, ladies and gentlemen, cannasseursk.com. You can get yourself a range of CBD products, whether you want full spectrum, you want just sativa, you want just indica. It doesn't matter, man. They got it for you, and it's made, with love. You can get Belgian chocolate. You can get, hold on, let me look at this properly. Yeah, you can get the CD balm, CBD balm, which is really good for your joints, for your muscles. If you got bites, if you got rashes, it really helps. You can get yourself sprays, whether you want sativa or indica or full spectrum. And these really help you with a whole load of different things. We've had our brother come on and break down, like Sam, the way he broke down how we used to even eat it back in the day, like all these different things. It really made a lot more sense why this stuff works for you. So if you got any sort of ailments that you need dealing with, whether it be even like if you got exhaustion, man. I know some of you lot are exhausted. There's a mother lover out there battering the coffee. He's up on the coffee, man. That might help you out and get some CBD to sort your life out. Chocolate stirrers, can't forget the chocolate stirrers. Of course, you can get them. If you get to the checkout, make sure you type in the acronym of this show.
Sorry to interrupt, but you more said that it says expired.
I don't lie.
Yeah.
Oh no,
she said it earlier.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we got to find out what's going on there.
Yeah.
But make sure you put it in lowercase, not uppercase. SYNNKA. Yeah, that's hilarious, man. I was like, huh? Where am I getting it? Yeah, SIMNA, basically, the acronym for the show. We'll make sure we hit up Sam just to make sure that everything's all right. So let us know if that's still the case. Did you try that today, Yamor? Thanks for letting us know, by the way.
Last week, I think she said.
No, last week. Okay, yeah, he might have sorted it since then, so have a go on it. I'm going to get some stuff and see what happens. And I'll let him know as well. But yeah, man, appreciate all you mother lovers.
She did all the uppercase, lowercase, different ways around.
Oh, okay. We've got to get in touch with the boss. Get in touch with Sam. See what's going on, Mr. Gibbons. All right, big up to Black Einstein, Dr. Evil O, BLA, Yamor. Shout out to Blue Fliggy, a.k.a. Bruce Willis. Yes, man. Regantology, yes. IBMCs.
Big up Blue Fliggy, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Blue for all the time, boy. Big up Don Smithard. Shout out to IBMCs. Yeah, man. Don Smithard at Isle of Wight. Welcome in. Jeez. Never forget that, boy. Shout out to Shades Alvarez. When we did the roll calls, Shades Alvarez was like straight Charlie for me. That's hilarious. All right, your mom was on the Zoot Pastels. Jeez, you are going in, boy. Regantology had the runts. Okay. Yeah, man. Shout out to everyone that was locked in. Appreciate you lot locking in. Sorry we've been away for a couple weeks, but we're back again now, mother lovers. Back in this mother lover. And we should have a bunch of decent guests for you lot as well, man. So make sure you stay locked in. We'll be back next week with some shit you might not never know nothing about. That's right. That's Dan DNA. My name's MysDiggi. And you know what we're about right now, bitches and bitchettes. We're out.